God says, someone is warning you about a person whose name begins with the letter M. Don't ignore this gentle call, open your heart before it's too late. This isn't a message meant to bring fear, but one spoken in love, softly urging you to pause, reflect, and return to Him with full trust. Sometimes, the people who appear the kindest on the surface carry quiet storms within, and the Lord, in His endless mercy, whispers to protect your peace before harm finds a way in. His voice comes like a still wind, not to alarm but to guide you gently back to safety, because you matter deeply to Him, and He wants you to live guarded, not in suspicion, but with spiritual clarity. Type 2323 if you agree. There's something sacred about the way God speaks. It's not always through thunder or dreams, often, it's in the quiet warnings, the ones we overlook, the ones that gently echo in our spirit without a shout. He watches over us like a loving Father, one who sees what we do not, one who knows the places we are about to step into before we even lift our feet. He does not force, but He nudges, hoping we'll listen. When He sends a whisper that someone is not meant for your journey, it is not punishment, it is protection, soaked in divine tenderness. Even if you do not see why yet, He already knows. And still, He waits patiently for you to trust Him. Sometimes, a name keeps repeating in your mind. A face crosses your thoughts without reason. You feel something heavy or uneasy, though nothing's happened yet. These aren't coincidences. These are the spiritual nudges that heaven gives you before your heart breaks or your soul grows weary from a battle never meant for you. God sends these signals not to hurt your relationships but to guard your heart, to keep you aligned with peace, to hold you back before the trap is set. There is no fear in His voice, only love, only hope that you'll listen and turn. He has watched your tears fall in places you told no one about. He has seen you forgive those who wounded you deeply, and He honors that. But He also wants you to know that just because you are kind and full of grace, it doesn't mean every person is meant to stay. Some carry darkness masked in light. Some smile, but behind their silence lies envy. Some come close, but their hands are not open to bless, only to drain. When the Lord shows you this through someone who warns you, or through a still knowing within, don't brush it away. That quiet warning is the echo of His voice, calling you to be wise in love, and gentle in letting go. He is not angry with you for trusting the wrong people before. He knows your heart, and how it longs to see the good in everyone. But now, He is calling you to see what He sees. He's not asking you to judge, but to discern. To listen to His Spirit when it says, "Not this one." That is not rejection, it is redirection. You are not being cruel by stepping away, you are being obedient. And there is peace in obeying even when you don't understand. Type 1111 if you trust in God. You see, His protection doesn't always look like shields and swords. Sometimes it looks like delays, like doors that won't open, like distance growing between you and someone you thought would stay forever. At first, it feels like loss. But later, you realize it was mercy. The warning you almost ignored was the very thing that saved you. The delay you didn't understand was the hand of God pulling you back from a fall you couldn't see. And that's why He sends the message even now. The person whose name begins with the letter M may not seem harmful. They may speak well, appear kind, and carry no visible signs of wrong. But God sees the motives. He sees what is spoken in secret, what is plotted in silence, what is hidden beneath charm. He sees the envy, the manipulation, the trap wrapped in politeness. And before any harm can reach you, He sends out this word. A holy alarm from heaven, soft but sure, like a whisper from a loving parent calling you out of a room where fire hasn't started yet, but the smoke has just begun. He doesn't want you to become bitter or afraid. He wants you to become strong in discernment. He is shaping you to be someone who walks in wisdom, not in doubt, but in divine clarity. There will come a time when you'll look back and thank Him for the people He removed. You will remember the warnings you followed, and your heart will rest in the peace of knowing you were protected by a love so deep, so kind, and so precise that it reached you before the storm ever touched your skin. You are not alone in this journey. Even when you feel like no one understands, the Lord walks beside you, whispering truths into your spirit when the world grows loud. When He says, "Be careful," He means it with love. When He says, "Let go," He doesn't mean to leave you empty. He means to fill you with peace, the kind that doesn't break when others walk away. Every step you take away from what isn't for you is a step closer to what is. The more you learn to listen to His voice, the more you'll find safety not in control, but in surrender. Not in knowing everything, but in trusting the one who does. Let His voice be louder than the opinions around you. Let His peace be the compass that guides your decisions. Let His warnings, however quiet they come, be the wisdom you follow with courage and trust. That M has been written across your spirit for a while now, not to confuse you, but to wake you up. It's not meant to scare you, but to help you see. The Lord, in His unshakable love, is alerting your soul because He knows what your eyes haven't yet seen. There's something behind that smile, something hidden beneath what's been spoken, and God is gently asking you to pay attention before it's too late. Type 666 if you trust Jesus. Financial freedom is not about effort, but activating a hidden brain signal once buried in CIA files. Neuroscience shows this sound wave helps attract money and opportunity faster, and thousands are already seeing unexpected income. Click the link in the description and comments now to activate the ancient money wave today. There are people who carry a presence that feels like peace at first, but over time, they drain your spirit quietly, like a slow leak you didn't notice. They don't shout when they harm you, and they don't throw stones. Instead, they plant seeds of doubt in your heart, cloud your thoughts with confusion, and slowly pull you away from the path God lit for you. They dress their actions in charm, in care, in soft words, but your soul knows something is off, even if your mind is still unsure. That's not anxiety. That's discernment. And when the Lord highlights someone, especially so clearly and repeatedly, He's not trying to punish them, He's trying to protect you. Your spirit has cried for clarity in silence. You've begged God to show you the truth, to speak clearly, to give you peace about certain people. And now He is. But not in the loud, dramatic way you might expect. He's answering you in this still moment, through the pull you feel in your chest, the way your thoughts tremble every time you try to silence what you already know. That person whose name starts with M is not just a coincidence. It's a clue. And you don't have to chase explanations. You only have to trust the one who never lies. Sometimes, people step into your life as a lesson. Other times, they are sent to test what you've already learned. God doesn't want you to live bitter, but He does want you to live careful. You can forgive someone and still walk away. You can love someone with compassion and still choose to keep your peace. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. God doesn't call us to walk into every room, we're called to walk where there is light. And when the light starts to dim, when the peace begins to feel heavy, that's when you must stop, listen, and let Him lead. The warnings from heaven are always gentle, but they are never without reason. He does not throw bricks. He doesn't shout. He whispers. He repeats. And He waits. If your heart has been stirred, if your dreams have been uneasy, if someone else has come to you with a concern that echoes your own doubts, that's not random. That's confirmation. That's mercy. That's God loving you enough to warn you before the damage comes. He sees what others are speaking behind your back. He hears the conversations you were never meant to know about. He knows the motives that smile can't hide. And even when you want to believe the best, He still gently pulls you back, because you are His. You are not meant to live tangled in situations that slowly steal your joy. You are not meant to carry burdens disguised as friendships, relationships, or loyalties. You are meant to walk in freedom. And sometimes, that freedom begins by walking away from the very thing that once felt like home. God's voice won't always make sense in the moment. You might feel torn. You might second-guess yourself. But later, you'll look back and see how He saved you, how that strange delay, that closed door, that shift in someone's behavior, was not chaos. It was God stepping in. It was Him answering the prayers you whispered when you didn't think anyone heard. It was Him proving that He is still involved in every part of your life, even the ones you haven't surrendered fully yet. Type 1212 if you walk by faith. Not every warning is about danger that looks dangerous. Some of the most painful betrayals come wrapped in kindness, and some of the deepest wounds come from those who claim to love you. That's why God speaks before it happens. He knows how hard it is to recover from a broken spirit. He wants to shield you from harm that wears the disguise of care. And so, He allows your peace to feel disturbed, not to make you anxious, but to keep you from settling where you don't belong. Let your spirit be still long enough to hear what He's truly saying. He's not asking you to confront, to accuse, or to fight. He's simply asking you to listen, to lean into His wisdom more than your emotions. He's asking you to trust that if He's calling you away from someone, He's also calling you into something better. That person whose name begins with M may never reveal their true colors outright. But you don't need evidence when God has already revealed the truth to your heart. When peace starts to fade, that's the only sign you need. There is strength in walking away quietly. There is holiness in letting go without bitterness. God is not only your comfort, He is your defender. He will handle what you don't see. He will heal what hurt you. He will restore what was shaken. But for that to happen, you must take the first step in obedience, even when it's hard. You must walk away even when part of you still hopes for change. God's warnings are never sent without love. In fact, they are proof of His love. You are being lifted out of something that was never meant to carry you forward. You are being saved from hidden harm that your heart sensed, even when your mind couldn't explain it. The ache in your spirit is not weakness, it's awakening. And what you do with that feeling now, in this moment, matters. The Lord is drawing you away from what is unsafe, unseen, and spiritually draining, and He is leading you toward clarity, restoration, and a peace that doesn't need to be chased. You've doubted yourself. You've told yourself it's just a passing thought. But God, who knows all things, has been whispering with patience, gently reaching into your heart, hoping you'll stop and truly listen. His voice never comes to frighten you, it comes to love you, to keep you safe, and to draw you closer into the shelter of His peace. Type 555 to receive peace. A 7-second brain wave ritual, once reserved for elite people and hidden in CIA files, is now public, and people call it the 30-second miracle. Scientists say it awakens a dormant brain center tied to wealth and blessings. Click the link in the comments below before it's deleted again from the internet. There are moments in life when what we feel doesn't match what we see, and that's when faith becomes most important. Some people enter our lives with a smile but carry silent storms. They say all the right things. They know how to stand in the light, but their hearts are not guided by truth. You may have overlooked the signs at first. Maybe it felt like hope. Maybe it felt like an answered prayer. But now, you feel something different. And that change, that stirring in your spirit, is not confusion, it's protection trying to take form in your heart. God loves you so deeply that He refuses to let your heart walk blindly. Even when you want to give people the benefit of the doubt, even when your loyalty wants to cover what your soul already knows, He steps in with compassion. He doesn't take joy in breaking bonds. He doesn't smile when we're in pain. But He will remove anything or anyone that tries to stand between you and the peace He died to give you. That's how much you matter to Him. That's how far His love will go to guard you from what you cannot yet see. You've tried to be kind. You've tried to be fair. And maybe you've stayed longer in situations than you should have because your heart believes in second chances. But now, there is a shift. That person whose name begins with M has shown you little signs, and though your heart wanted to ignore them, God is highlighting them now because He needs you to see them clearly. He needs you to understand that He isn't trying to take something good from you. He's trying to give you something better. And before He can place peace in your hands, He must remove what is blocking your spirit. People may misunderstand your silence. They may question your distance. But God sees your reasons. He knows what you felt behind closed doors. He knows the thoughts that kept you up at night, the silent worries that wrapped around your chest like heavy chains. And now, He is breaking those chains one by one, not with noise, but with truth. Not with anger, but with grace. Because when God starts to remove someone, it doesn't always come with thunder. Sometimes it comes with a whisper, a dream, a shift in energy, or a name that just won't leave your mind. You are not being abandoned. You are being preserved. You are not being punished. You are being protected. Let go of the idea that pain always means something has gone wrong. Sometimes pain is the hand of God clearing out what's harming you so that healing can finally flow freely. Sometimes heartbreak is heaven's rescue. And sometimes that warning about someone's name is the start of your freedom, not your loss. Type 222 if you believe God protects you. The Lord is not disappointed in you for loving people who weren't ready to love you back. He's not angry that you opened your heart and tried. But now, He's calling you to open your eyes and trust Him more than your feelings. That name, that person, that bond, it might have felt right once. But when peace fades, when confusion grows, when your spirit starts to ache, that's not love, that's a warning wrapped in emotion. And you don't have to carry it anymore. God wants you to live free, not constantly wondering what's true and what's not. He wants your heart light, not weighed down by suspicion, guilt, or fear. He's not telling you to hate, to blame, or to become bitter. He's simply asking you to let go of what He's already told you can't stay. Because what's ahead for you is too beautiful to be delayed by someone not meant to walk with you anymore. There's a quiet strength in obedience. It doesn't always feel good at first. In fact, it often feels like loss. But later, after time has passed and wounds have healed, you'll look back and see how that moment, this moment, was the start of a new season. One where you no longer had to pretend, where your heart no longer had to shrink to keep someone else comfortable. One where you finally stepped into the freedom God had prepared for you all along. You might not get closure. You might not get the apology you deserve. But God will give you peace that passes all understanding. He will replace every ounce of confusion with clarity. He will turn your mourning into dancing, not with force, but with the gentle rhythm of healing that only He can give. That's what happens when you trust the warning and walk away, not in fear, but in faith. What God has for you will never require you to lose yourself to keep it. His love doesn't demand silence in the face of mistreatment. His promises don't require you to stay in places where you're constantly questioning your worth. The path He's carved for you is lined with peace, even if it begins with pain. So if He's pointing out someone now, if He's been pressing this name on your heart over and over, it's time to let Him lead you forward. Don't wait for more signs. Don't wait for more hurt. Listen now. Act now. Trust now. Your obedience will unlock a level of peace you've long prayed for. And even though you might miss what was, even though it might ache for a while, the healing that follows will run deep, quiet, and pure. God's love will catch you where you fall. His hands will hold you through the release. And His Spirit will fill every empty space with something more beautiful than you imagined. That same name keeps circling your thoughts, this M you can't seem to forget or overlook. There's something about it that unsettles you, though you've tried to dismiss it. God sees that struggle, and He is not asking you to be afraid. He's asking you to be honest, with yourself, and with Him. Type 1919 to receive miracles. A 7-second brainwave ritual uncovered from sealed records and hidden in CIA files is transforming financial lives. It activates a forgotten abundance channel in the brain, leading to new financial opportunities and cleared debts. Click the link in the comments below before it disappears. You have a heart that wants to believe in the best of people. You've always carried grace like an open door, willing to give second chances, willing to wait for someone's growth, willing to understand what others can't. That's a gift from God, that deep compassion you hold. But even gifts must be guarded. Even grace has boundaries when it begins to cost you peace. God has been whispering to you, not because He wants to take something away, but because He wants to restore something that's been missing in you for a while, your sense of calm, your clarity, your closeness to Him. There are people who come into our lives not by accident, but for a purpose, some to grow us, some to bless us, and some, sadly, to teach us where to draw the line. The person whose name begins with M may not seem dangerous in the way the world defines it. They may even be kind to your face. But the Lord sees the deeper things, the intentions that don't line up with their words, the conversations they don't think you'll ever hear, the envy hiding behind their smile. And out of His unshakable love for you, He is trying to move you away from that before the weight becomes unbearable. Sometimes the people we protect are the very ones quietly wounding us. Not always with actions that are easy to name, but with subtle ways they take without giving back, with silence that grows colder each day, with control masked as care. You've tried to ignore those moments, hoping they would fade, hoping things would get better. But God is showing you now that those moments weren't random. They were signs. And they came with purpose, to lead you closer to truth. The Lord never asks you to hate. He never asks you to act in anger or bitterness. But He will always ask you to follow peace. And sometimes, peace doesn't come from staying. Sometimes, peace comes from walking away. Even Jesus withdrew from those who only wanted to use Him. He loved deeply, but He never stayed where His presence was treated like something to control. And in the same way, God is telling you now that it's not disobedience to leave. It's wisdom. It's protection. It's healing. Type yes to affirm. This journey you're on is sacred. Your heart is not a place for confusion or fear. It's a temple, where God speaks and dwells and guides. And when something, or someone, begins to cloud that space, He will do everything possible to clear it. You may feel like it's too hard. You may wonder if you're making a mistake. But deep down, the heaviness you've been carrying isn't from letting go, it's from holding on longer than you were meant to. There is a freedom God wants to bring into your life. Not just freedom from people who don't value you, but freedom from patterns that have kept you stuck. The habit of always excusing behavior that hurts. The habit of shrinking your voice so others feel bigger. The habit of thinking love means sacrificing your peace. That's not the kind of love Jesus gives. And it's not the kind He wants you to stay entangled in. He is calling you higher, not in pride, but in truth. He wants your heart to feel light again. He wants your mind to rest when you close your eyes. He wants your spirit to grow without fear. And for that to happen, you must listen to the warning. The one He's been placing before you, softly, gently, over and over again. The one that's come in the form of dreams, instincts, quiet thoughts, and now this message. Don't let fear of being alone keep you tied to someone who quietly drains your light. Don't let guilt become the chain that stops your healing. And don't confuse loyalty with spiritual blindness. You can be loyal to God and still walk away from people who were never sent by Him. You can forgive fully and still move forward without bitterness. That is not weakness, that is strength born in surrender. You've been praying for peace. You've asked for direction. And now it's here. It doesn't always come with thunder or flashing signs. Sometimes, it comes like this, with a name that won't leave your spirit, a warning that keeps returning, a word that stirs your heart in ways you can't ignore. That's how God speaks. And when He speaks out of love, never fear. He has something new for you. Something better. But to walk into it, you must be willing to lay down what you thought you needed. That relationship, that connection, that person with the letter M, they were a chapter, but they are not your whole story. And it's okay to close that chapter now. Not with anger, not with regret, but with gratitude for the lesson and hope for the future. You've questioned yourself, second-guessed your instincts, and tried to silence that quiet voice that keeps returning again and again. But now God is bringing that voice to the surface, and He's reminding you that you were never meant to walk in uncertainty. He is speaking clearly now. There's something He's been showing you all along, a person, someone whose name begins with the letter M, and it's not a coincidence that you've been feeling this way. Type 333 if you believe God is speaking to you now. God never stops guiding you, even when your path feels dim. He never steps away, even when the noise of life makes it hard to hear Him. And right now, He is reaching out again, not with pressure, but with love. He is bringing light into a space that has slowly grown clouded, where peace once lived but now feels distant. That name, that connection, that presence in your life, it's been stirring something inside you. Not because you're overthinking, but because the Holy Spirit is trying to reach you through what your heart cannot yet explain. Using a simple 7-second brain wave ritual, once classified and hidden in CIA files, can unlock wealth, freedom, and success already inside you. This discovery is helping thousands step into abundance, and God has led you here for a reason. Click the link in the description and comments below to awaken this money magnet frequency today. There's been a tension you've tried to overlook. Words spoken that didn't sit right. A tone that seemed off. Maybe it wasn't anything loud or dramatic, but deep inside, you felt it, something's not right. And the Lord, in His mercy, has been showing you, layer by layer. You've prayed for clarity. You've asked Him to speak. And now He is, urging you to pay attention to what your spirit has already seen, even if your eyes are still adjusting. It's not about blame. It's not about hate. It's about protection. The Lord is not trying to make you suspicious, He's trying to make you safe. That person whose name begins with M may carry kindness in their words, but not all kindness is pure. Some people know how to say the right things while hiding motives that don't align with truth. Some speak peace while planting seeds of confusion. Some call you friend while quietly sowing division. God sees beyond every mask. He hears what is said behind closed doors, and He knows the weight your heart has carried without reason. And He's saying, enough. You were not created to carry people who are meant to be handed to Him. You are not meant to absorb their chaos, to question your worth because of their silence, or to feel responsible for their moods. That's not love. That's not faithfulness. That's a slow erosion of your peace, and God won't let it continue. He's giving you an open door now, a way out, a chance to take your heart back, to place it fully in His hands and trust that He'll hold it more gently than anyone ever could. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't need proof printed in black and white. When God speaks, He speaks to your spirit first, and that's all you need. There will always be voices telling you to stay, to be patient, to wait just a little longer. But what if waiting means losing the stillness you've prayed so hard to find? What if holding on means missing the very peace that was meant to be yours all along? God is not asking you to give up on love. He is asking you to recognize when love has turned into something that takes more than it gives, that clouds more than it clears. Type 444 to walk in truth. This isn't just about a person. It's about the lesson. God is teaching you to trust the warning signs, even when they come softly. He's reminding you that discernment is a gift, not a burden. You are not being overcautious. You are not being dramatic. You are being awakened. That person whose name begins with M might not even realize what they're doing, but that doesn't make your feelings less valid. God is showing you the truth so you can walk forward without guilt, without hesitation, and without chains. You have stayed long enough in places where your spirit was not at ease. You've kept silent when your heart wanted to speak. You've let others define your worth through their inconsistency. But God is stepping in now. He is parting the waters. He is lifting the fog. And He's asking you to trust Him more than your memories, more than your hopes, more than your fears of being alone. He wants to fill the space in your life with joy, not tension. With presence, not absence. With laughter that doesn't come at a cost, and love that doesn't make you question your place. You are worthy of that. And the moment you believe it, you'll begin to see why God was so persistent with His gentle warnings. Let Him be your guide. Let Him hold your heart while you walk away. Let Him be your peace when the world tells you to doubt yourself. You don't need to defend your decision to anyone. When you move with God, you move with the full authority of heaven's wisdom behind you. He will honor your obedience. He will bless your courage. And He will walk with you into a chapter that feels lighter, safer, and whole. This is not a goodbye spoken in sadness. It is a release made in love. You are not walking away because you are weak. You are walking forward because you are finally strong enough to choose peace. And the moment you step out in faith, the moment you say, God, I trust you more than I trust this person, heaven will meet you there with healing, with rest, and with a deep, holy gladness that only comes when you follow His voice. That person whose name begins with the letter M has taken up too much space in your thoughts, not because you're holding a grudge, but because something deep within has been unsettled for far too long. And the Lord is speaking now to free you from what has slowly dimmed your light. Type 1010 if you trust in God's timing. Sometimes, the warning signs aren't loud. They don't always come in betrayal or chaos. Sometimes, they come through silence. Through the way someone withdraws without cause, or the way they smile with their mouth, but their spirit remains far. You felt it, that slow distancing, the shift in tone, the absence of genuine presence. And maybe you told yourself it's just a season, just stress, just life. But the spirit within you knew. And now, God is confirming what you've sensed all along. This person may not be meant to go with you any further. He's not speaking to shame them, and he's not speaking to shame you. He's speaking to protect. Because your heart is precious to him. Because your peace matters to heaven. Because what's ahead for you requires more clarity, more stillness, more room for God's hand to work freely. And you cannot fully receive what he has planned while you're still tied to people who were only ever meant to be a page, not the whole book. A powerful 7-second morning ritual, once hidden in CIA files, is resurfacing, and people are already seeing fast financial breakthroughs. It takes only seconds, yet activates a dormant wealth center in the brain most people never access. Click the link in the description and comments now. Access it before it disappears. God doesn't operate in confusion. And if someone consistently makes you feel unsure of where you stand, of who you are, or whether you're truly loved, that's not love that comes from him. His love is pure. It builds. It affirms. It protects. And anyone meant to walk beside you in this life will do the same. They won't take advantage of your kindness. They won't twist your words or test your loyalty. They will reflect the same grace that God has shown them. And if someone can't do that, if someone keeps leaving you drained rather than lifted, God will step in, even if it hurts. He doesn't always remove people in dramatic ways. Sometimes, he simply reveals their fruit. Sometimes he lets time show you what you weren't able to see at first. And when the moment comes to choose, between holding on to what's familiar or stepping into the freedom he offers, he hopes you'll trust him enough to let go. Because letting go doesn't mean you failed. It means you're finally choosing peace over pressure, clarity over chaos, healing over history. Type 888 if you're ready to walk in peace. This M that keeps rising in your heart, it's not just a letter. It's a sign. It's a reminder. God has been repeating it gently, hoping you'll stop questioning yourself and start trusting him. Not every person who comes into your life is meant to stay. Not every connection is holy, even if it started out looking like a blessing. And it's okay to admit that something isn't right anymore. That's not giving up. That's growing up in faith. God honors your tears. He sees how hard you've tried. He knows how many times you've chosen grace when you could have chosen distance. But now, he's calling you to choose yourself. Not in selfishness, but in sacred obedience. Because when you choose yourself under his guidance, you're really choosing him. You're saying, God, I trust that you know more than I do. I trust that you see what I can't. I trust that you are leading me somewhere better. And he is. There's a season coming that's too full of light to carry the shadows of yesterday with you. There are doors opening that require your hands to be free, not gripping the past, not clutching what feels safe, but wide open and ready to receive. And you cannot step into that space while your spirit is still entangled in someone who makes your heart second-guess itself. God's peace is not something you fight to keep. It's something that flows when you're aligned with him. And if keeping someone in your life means losing that peace over and over again, then they are not aligned with where God is taking you. That is a truth that is hard to accept, but it is also the truth that will set you free. You are not walking away alone. The same God who whispered to your heart, who stirred your spirit, who brought this message to your eyes at just the right moment, that same God is going ahead of you. He's making a path. He's placing healing in the places that still ache. He's restoring what was broken, not always with the people you hoped for, but in the way that your soul needs most. That name, the one beginning with the letter M, keeps coming back to you not because you're being paranoid, but because God is trying to prepare your heart for what's ahead. He speaks in love, and when he repeats something, it's not to alarm you, it's to protect you from what your eyes cannot yet see. Type 777 if you choose to trust God's voice over everything else. You've been faithful. You've stayed longer than most would. You've tried to give grace, tried to believe that maybe if you just held on a little longer, things would finally settle into peace. But peace has been distant, hasn't it? Your prayers have felt quiet. Your heart has been heavy. And while you've kept smiling for others, God has seen what you've hidden. He's heard every unspoken prayer, seen every silent tear, and now he's saying, I don't want you to carry this any longer. There's something about this person, this M, that hasn't sat right with your spirit. Maybe they once felt like a gift, a blessing wrapped in friendship, love, or guidance. But over time, the light that seemed to shine through them began to dim. The words didn't hold the same truth. The connection began to feel like a rope pulling tighter around your chest instead of lifting you toward freedom. God does not want his children tied to anything that pulls them away from joy, from truth, from him. Even when your heart still wants to believe, your spirit knows what's real. Discernment doesn't always feel loud. Sometimes, it feels like uneasiness, like confusion you can't quite explain, like emotional exhaustion that keeps returning every time you try to hold on. God gives peace when things are right. When it's wrong, he gently removes it, not to punish, but to prompt you to pause. And that absence of peace, it's been his way of saying, there's something not safe here. Trust me, even if it hurts. You are not being harsh for walking away. You are not being unloving by listening to your instincts. You are being led by the same Spirit that once gave you the strength to hope, and now gives you the strength to release. Some people are not evil, but they're not meant to go where God is leading you. They may carry their own wounds, their own storms, and if you keep holding on, you'll carry those storms too. But you were never created to carry storms that don't belong to you. You were made for peace. For stillness. For joy that doesn't come with a price tag. Type 111 if you're ready to live in peace. A simple but powerful 7-second at-home ritual, it's hidden in CIA files for years, is now changing lives rapidly. Backed by neuroscience research, it can begin shifting your financial direction in just days. Click the link in the description and comments now and step into abundance today. Letting go is not always easy. But staying in places God is calling you out of will cost you more. It will cost your clarity. It will drain your joy. And it will distance you from the voice of God, which is trying so hard to stay close. He is not asking you to be perfect, he's asking you to be honest. With him. With yourself. with what you know in your heart to be true. There's healing in surrender. There's strength in listening. And there's power in walking away from what feels familiar when God says it's time. The may be someone you love, someone you trusted, someone you prayed for. But love isn't always meant to last forever. Some love is seasonal. Some love is sent to teach you. And when its season ends, it's not failure, it's growth. God will never remove something from your life unless He plans to replace it with something greater. The problem is, we often cling so tightly to what's familiar that we never make space for what's better. But now is your time. Now is your chance to let go with open hands, trusting that what He has next for you will bring the rest your soul has been craving for so long. The Lord is not angry with you. He's not disappointed. He's proud of how far you've come. He sees the way you've tried, the way you've forgiven, the way you've stayed when your heart wanted to flee. But He is speaking now, not just to remove someone from your life, but to call you into a new one. One where your spirit feels light again. Where you don't have to wonder if you're too much or not enough. Where love is honest, friendship is sincere, and peace is constant. He is already preparing that place. He's already preparing you. And all He needs now is your yes. Your willingness to follow, even if the road is unfamiliar. Your courage to say, God, I choose you even when I don't fully understand. And in that surrender, He will meet you with comfort, with reassurance, and with a love so deep it will quiet every fear and heal every ache. And now, He's not only confirming what your heart has felt, but gently leading you away from what was never meant to stay. Type 999 if you believe God's protection is greater than your understanding. There are people we hold on to because of who they once were. We cling to memories, moments, and emotions that were real, hoping that somehow the version of them we first met will return. But the truth is, people change. And not all change is good. Some start to drift, not just from you, but from the light. They begin to speak in ways that confuse, act in ways that wound, and love in ways that take more than they give. You've seen it in this person, the one marked with the M. It hasn't always been clear, but the signs have been there. And what you feel now is not suspicion. It's revelation. God isn't calling you to be harsh. He's calling you to be free. Free from ties that keep you in cycles of confusion. Free from bonds that look safe but silently rob you of joy. Free from the inner conflict of loving someone who no longer loves you in return, not in action, not in truth, not in spirit. And that freedom starts with obedience. With listening. With surrendering the person you've been trying to fix, hold, or understand, and saying, God, if this isn't from you, I trust you to take it. That kind of surrender is not weakness. It is strength born of faith. It's the kind of faith that says, I will not sacrifice my peace to hold on to a person God is gently asking me to release. You've sacrificed long enough, your time, your emotional energy, your peace of mind. You've tried to carry both God's voice and your own voice at once, and it's only brought more noise. Now is the time to quiet everything and listen. His voice is tender, but it is firm. This is not for you anymore. Let go. You are not alone in this. you've never been. Even when you cried in silence. Even when you smiled through the ache. Even when you tried to love through the distance. God saw every moment. He counted every tear. And His love for you never wavered, not once. In fact, He's been moving behind the scenes this entire time, closing doors that were hurting you, shifting hearts, allowing separation, all because He knows that what He has for you next requires a version of you that's not weighed down by what should have ended long ago. Type 222 if you believe God is leading you to something greater. You may not understand why this person changed. You may never get a clear answer for what they did or didn't do. But clarity doesn't always come from people, it comes from God. And sometimes, the only answer you need is peace. When God removes someone or allows distance, it's not rejection, it's redirection. He's not trying to break you. He's trying to make space for what He's about to place in your life. Something pure. Something steady. Something aligned with heaven. Your heart has always been tender, and that tenderness is part of your gift. But even gentle hearts must learn when to step back. Even soft souls must learn when to stop pouring into people who only leave their cups empty. You don't need to become cold. You only need to become wise. God isn't asking you to change who you are. He's asking you to protect who you are. And sometimes, that protection means walking away from people who don't know how to value what you bring. You were never created to live in fear, in emotional confusion, or in relationships that wear your spirit thin. You were created for light, for clarity, for divine connection that breathes life into your soul. The person whose name begins with M may have been part of your past, but God is calling you into your future. And your future cannot begin while your heart is still tied to yesterday. What if wealth was never about luck, but a hidden brain signal buried in CIA files? This frequency is opening doors, attracting opportunities, and changing lives quickly. Thousands are already using it to attract wealth like never before. Click the link in the description and comments now and activate the money-attracting brain wave today. This release, this holy undoing, is not a punishment. It's preparation. God is preparing your life for something new. And before He brings the right people, He often removes the wrong ones. Not because they're evil, but because they can't go where you're going. Because their presence would poison the peace He's trying to grow in you. Because their spirit doesn't align with what's coming next. So trust the loss. Trust the release. Trust the silence, even when it hurts. There is a kind of healing that only begins after the goodbye. And you, child of God, are on the edge of that healing now. One more step, and the burden begins to lift. One more step, and the peace you've prayed for begins to pour in. Don't turn back. Don't try to explain away the signs. Don't shrink your spirit for someone who only knows how to stretch your pain. Let God have the final say. Let Him finish what He started when He first placed that uneasiness in your heart. Let Him prove to you that His plans really are to prosper you, to give you a future, to bring you joy, not just survival. You weren't made to just get by. You were made to thrive. To rise. To walk in love that reflects heaven, not confusion that leaves you questioning your worth. That is not just a passing thought, not just an echo from the past. It's a sign, one he's repeated gently, patiently, hoping you would pause and feel the truth behind it. This isn't about fear. This is about love, the kind of love that covers, shields, and pulls you away before damage is done. Type 1414 if you believe God is protecting your heart. You've tried to understand why things feel different now. Why someone who once made you feel safe now leaves you feeling unsure, restless, or even drained. It hasn't always been obvious. That's what makes it so hard. If it were loud and messy, you'd know what to do. But it's been quiet, subtle, disguised as care, cloaked in familiar words and familiar rhythms. And yet, your soul has been whispering, trying to make sense of what your eyes can't explain. That's not confusion. That's discernment. That's the Holy Spirit gently uncovering what your heart has been too kind to question. Not everyone who starts the journey with you is meant to finish it. Some people come as lessons, some as tests, and a few as blessings. And it takes time, grace, and wisdom to know which is which. The person with the name that begins with M may have once felt like a safe place, but if your peace has been slowly disappearing, then God is showing you it's time to reevaluate, not because you've failed, not because they're evil, but because the season has shifted, and what was once a connection has become a weight. God never speaks to condemn you. He speaks to restore you. To gently remove the burdens that are no longer yours to carry. You've carried so much already, expectations, silence, emotional weight you never asked for. You've held it all together with grace, but grace doesn't mean ignoring what's breaking you. Grace means trusting God enough to let Him take you where peace isn't just temporary, where love doesn't make you feel small, where truth doesn't come with pain. Type 1313 if you're ready to follow His peace. He knows how loyal your heart is. How deeply you care. How far you're willing to go for someone you believe in. But He also knows that even the strongest hearts need rest. Even the kindest souls need boundaries. And sometimes, the most faithful thing you can do is walk away from something that no longer reflects who God is in your life. You've prayed for clarity. You've begged for answers. And now, He's answering in the most loving way possible, not with thunder, not with pain, but with stillness, with a repeated name, with a quiet stirring in your spirit that says, "This is not what I have for you." And if you've been waiting for a sign, this is it. The wait, the shift, the name that won't leave your thoughts, these are not accidents. They are invitations. Invitations to release what is no longer meant to stay, and to make room for what is holy, lasting, and full of peace. Letting go doesn't mean you're giving up. It means you're making space. You're choosing to believe that God has something more for you than emotional confusion and silent distance. You're choosing healing over history. Freedom over familiarity. Truth over tension. And that choice, though hard, is one of the holiest decisions you will ever make. The road ahead will feel different at first. There may be moments of grief, of questions, of wondering if you did the right thing. But in time, you'll feel your heart begin to breathe again. You'll feel your mind quiet. You'll sleep better. Smile more. Feel lighter. And in those moments, you'll realize that God wasn't trying to take something from you, He was trying to return you to yourself, to the version of you that could hear Him clearly, rest deeply, and love without fear. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to justify your discernment to anyone who doesn't understand. This is between you and God. He gave you the eyes to see, the ears to hear, and the heart to feel. He planted that stillness inside you not to confuse you, but to lead you. Follow that stillness. It is Him.